presumably mentally composing an angry tweet about Mueller, who is unfortunately not on Twitter. By Mandel Nanap, Getty Images. Back in July, the New York Times asked Donald Trump how he would react if Robert Mueller started looking into his finances beyond the Russia investigation. At the time, the president said he couldn't say whether he would fire the special prosecutor because he was fairly confident Mueller wouldn't go there, warning that it would be a violation if he did. Now, we may get to find out. Bloomberg reports that Mueller issued a subpoena to Deutsche Bank several weeks ago, demanding that it turn over documents pertaining to its relationship with Trump and his family. In a statement, the bank indicated it would comply with the request, saying, "Deutsche Bank always cooperates with investigating authorities in all countries." The development seemed likely to send the already unraveling Trump into a tailspin, but by Tuesday afternoon the president had declined to comment on the story, via his Twitter account or otherwise. His legal team, on the other hand, released a statement openly countering the news. No subpoena has been issued or received by Deutsche Bank, White House lawyer Jay Sekulow said in a statement, adding that, "We have confirmed this with the bank and other sources." A Fox News report echoed Sekulow, but at least 3 other outlets purported to have independently confirmed the news. The former real estate developer's long and storied relationship with a German lender, however, is indisputable. Before he took up residence in the White House, Trump reportedly owed Deutsche approximately $300 million, including a $170 million loan he took out to finish his hotel in Washington, where various entities looking to kiss the ring have stayed when they're in town. In addition, according to Bloomberg, Trump currently has a loan against his Chicago tower and 2 mortgages against the Trump National Doral Miami resort. Over the past 2 decades, according to the New York Times, Trump has received more than $4 billion in loan commitments and potential bond offerings from Deutsche, despite the fact that 1, no other banks would lend him money, and 2, in 2008, in order to avoid paying the $40 million he'd guaranteed after falling behind on a $640 million loan to build Trump International Hotel Tower in Chicago, he sued Deutsche. Trump and his lawyer claimed that Deutsche Bank is one of the banks primarily responsible for the economic dysfunction we are currently facing, i.e., the global financial crisis, and therefore it should pay him $3 billion in damages under the extraordinary event clause in his contract. Deutsche countersued, calling the argument "classic Trump." In the end, the bank gave Trump extra time to pay back the loan. When he finally forked over the money he owed to the firm's real estate lending division, 2 people, briefed on the transaction, told the Times that it was by way of another loan from Deutsche's wealth management unit. Deutsche declined a request for comment from the Times. Trump subsequently moved his business from the real estate group to the private wealth management group, where, according to the New York Times, executives were more willing to deal with him. One of the executives there was Rosemary Vrablic, who reportedly had a history of taking risks on clients, and whose division lent Trump $300 million in a period of 6 years, an amount current and former Deutsche execs told The Times is somewhat unusual by Wall Street standards. Deutsche's ties to Trump world extend to the president's in-laws. Jared Kushner and his mother are said to have an unsecured line of credit from Deutsche Bank, valued at up to $25 million, and the Kushner family business, Kushner Companies, received a $285 million loan from the bank last year. Incidentally, in 2013, a source with knowledge of the matter told The Times that Kushner ordered up a glowing profile of Vrablic in the real estate magazine he owned, with a disclosure about the connection at the very end of the piece. In addition to the Trumps and the Kushners, Deutsche Bank also has ties to a little Eastern European country called Russia. In addition to settling allegations that it allowed $10 billion to be laundered out of Russia earlier this year through a series of mirror trades, the bank had a cooperation agreement with Vynchekonombank, a Russian state-owned development bank that is the target of U.S. economic sanctions. Vynchekonombank, for those who need a refresher, was the bank whose chief executive, Sergei Gorkov, Jared Kushner forgot to mention meeting in December. Per The Times, the web of connections gets even more tangled. In May, federal prosecutors settled a case with a Cyprus investment vehicle owned by a Russian businessman with close family connections to the Kremlin. The firm of Prevezon Holdings was represented by Natalia Veselnitskaya, the Russian lawyer who was among the people who met during the presidential campaign with Donald Trump, Jr. About Hillary Clinton, federal prosecutors in the United States claimed Prevezon, which admitted no wrongdoing, laundered the proceeds of an alleged Russian tax fraud through real estate. Prevezon and its partner relied in part on $90 million in financing from a big European financial institution, court records show. It was Deutsche Bank. For months, Democratic lawmakers on the House Financial Services Committee have been attempting to obtain information from Deutsche based on the internal review it conducted of Trump's personal accounts and those of his family members. They were continually rebuffed by the bank, which said it couldn't turn over any such documents without a subpoena, which Democrats were unable to issue without the support of Republicans on the committee. After Michael Flynn pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI and agreed to cooperate with Mueller's team, many wondered if the special counsel was mounting an obstruction of justice case against Trump. But the Deutsche Bank subpoena seems to indicate that he could still be exploring a wider range of issues, including the president's curious financial dealings. This post has been updated.